Hello Bookish friends, welcome to the most exciting video of the year, which is the favorite books that I read in 2024. When we exclude the rereads, I did not have any 10 out of 10 book. However, my favorite books of 2024 were quite a variety, and I am very glad with this result. I think they were all very good books. However, book at number 5 and number 1 are quite dark, and I cannot recommend them for everyone. Whereas the other three are the books I would highly recommend for everyone to read. I finished the book that I was reading for my TBR Wet Cup, and also for March Mystery Madness. Verity by Coleen Hoover. In this book, we follow Lloyd, a thriller author, who tries to survive from an economical ruin. Also quite depressed after her mother's death. She encounters offer of a lifetime when Jeremy Crawford, the husband of a very famous thriller author, Verity Crawford, asks to write the remaining 3 books in her thriller series because Verity has been incapacitated after a traffic accident. And Lloyd, although reluctant at first, decides to accept the offer and comes to the author's house, investigate about how the mind of the author works, and also, of course, about the book series itself. As she goes through Verity's office, she finds a manuscript which seems to be a real-life memoir of her marriage with Jeremy. Things and events take a very dark turn as Lloyd reads this manuscript. I had read another book from Coleen Hoover before, which was one of her romance novels, and to be honest, I really didn't like the way that she wrote romance. But after reading this book, in my opinion, I think her characters do fit much better in a thriller books, and especially a very dark thriller like this one. I thought the plot was very interesting, but what struck me the most was how dark can she go with her characters. Although I did not want to read about such horrific events, I really couldn't not continue reading this book, and I finished the book in only 2 days. The plot twist at the end was really good, but like I said before, what was striking about this book was the complexity of the characters. The writing was very approachable, and I think that was one of the reasons why I read this book in such a short time. Because I do not like dark romance books in general, I will not read any of Coleen Hoover's romance books. But if she ever decides to write another thriller book, I will certainly read that book. So in summary, I gave Verity by Coleen Hoover a 9 out of 10. And I finished the book that I was reading with Laurie at Books, Ink and Paper. In this book, we follow Wallace, and he's a lawyer, very ambitious and ruthless. One day, he experiences a heart attack and dies. During his funeral, he meets a reaper, May, and she takes her to a tea shop called Charing Crossing. And this tea shop is like a stopping station before the souls of the dead are passed through eternity. Hugo, the owner of the tea shop, along with May, helps them to cross over. Hugo and May say that they will not force him to pass over unless he's ready. There he meets Hugo's grandfather and Hugo's deceased dog until the time he is ready to pass over. Wallace spends time with Hugo, May, Nelson, and Apollo, the dog. And as time passes through, their relationship changes from contempt to friendship to even something more like being a part of the family. I had previously read books with Laurie, but it was such a long time since we read a book together. And it was a great body reading experience since we really liked the book very much. I had previously read The House at the Cerulean Sea by this author, and it was one of my favorite books of 2022, as well as one of my favorite middle grade books. I had high hopes for this book, and I was very pleased that I was not disappointed. This book, written for adults, was also very good and powerful, as well as devastatingly emotional, especially towards the end. The writing style of Klune is very professional in my opinion. He mixes subtle humor with quite overwhelming themes, such as grief in this one and prejudice in the previous book. The turn of the events, especially towards the end, would have been quite cliche and sappy if written by a less capable author. But Klune made both Laurie and me cry a lot while reading the book. So I was emotionally invested in the book, as well as being awe of its very good writing style. Only reason that I took out 1 point and gave it 9 out of 10 was that some of the middle sections could have been a bit shorter. Other than that, I think it was an excellent book. I want to thank Laurie for a great body reading experience. Overall, I gave Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune a 9 out of 10. I finished the book that I was reading for middle grade May, which was Echo by Munoz Ryan. This book follows the stories of 3 children, Frederick in Germany, Mike in Pennsylvania, and Ivy in California. Their lives are interwoven when the very same harmonica lands in their lives. They all faced some difficulties. Frederick tries to rescue his father. Mike tries to protect his brother, and Ivy tries to hold the family together when his brother goes to fight in World War II. I thought this book was structured excellently. I loved the hint of magical realism. And I also loved the very appropriate description of harsh realities in a middle grade book. And the stories were very emotional. I was especially impressed by the first story of Frederick, but the other 2 were also very emotional. All of them brought tears to my eyes when I was reading them. The writing style of Ryan is exceptionally good, but I would strongly advise the readers to listen to the audiobook version of this book, because the musical numbers mentioned in the book are performed in the audiobook, which makes it an incredible listening experience. So overall, I loved this middle grade book, and I gave Echo by Munoz Ryan a 9 out of 10. And I finished the book that I was bud reading with Rose and Skelly dangling about the books, which was The Woman of Troy by Pat Barker. This book is the second book in the Woman of Troy series, the latest book up to date, but the next book will come out this August. This book starts with the fall of Troy. We follow the point of view of Briseis, like the first book, Pyrrhus, who's Achilles' son, also the great commander who helped to capture the Troy, and the priest Calchas, who has fallen out of favor with the king of Greeks, Agamemnon, because he cannot turn back the wind, which is preventing the victorious Greek soldiers to return back to their homes. And during this period of very anxious waiting, the women of Troy, who are prisoners in the Greek camp, do try to survive. And through Briseis' eyes, who is a great observer, like in the first book, we observe what is happening with Hecuba, widow of the king who has been killed by Phraates, Cassandra, Hecuba's daughter, Andromache, who's the widow of Hector, who has been killed by Achilles in the first book, and Amina and Hele, who are also the members of the woman prisoner camp without any previous royal titles. But reading a book with Rose has been phenomenal so far, and this was no exception. The book also helped a lot in this matter because the characters were very complex, and also we had great discussions about their motives and factors that affect their decisions. It was really interesting to see the similarities between two very opposite characters, and how that made us feel the same towards characters on the completely opposite sides of the war. And I thought the writing style was very good, very close to excellent actually. And I appreciate how the environment and the geography that I'm of course familiar with has been described in detail. We could clearly visualize what was happening in the scenes. Pat Barker clearly had an agenda to tell a feminist retelling of the Trojan War, and how the women were regarded as worthless and not equal to men in every aspect of their lives. But it did not feel preachy for a book that I know the general plot of. I could not wait to find out what would happen to the characters that we have been following for 2 books. So I gave The Woman of Troy by Pat Barker a 9 out of 10. I cannot wait to read the next book in the series when it comes out. The first one was a graphic novel that I read for Flimtastic February. V for Vendetta, written by Alan Moore and illustrated by David Lloyd. This graphic novel set in an imagined future England. The country is governed by a autocratic, sort of like a Nazist regime. Monday, November 5th, the date that the gunpowder plot supposed to be implemented, was actually bomb the English Parliament building. Then the powerful people in this fascist state is captured one by one, and the police officer, who is surprisingly not corrupt, investigates the murders and finds out many truths about the past of this rebellious outlaw who calls himself We. I had previously seen the movie of this graphic novel. I really do like the movie. I can say the same thing about this graphic novel. I was very much impressed by how professional the writing and the illustrating duo worked together. It's really hard to separate one from the other, because the wonderful storytelling is both a product of a very good story and a very impressive writing style. I was especially amazed by the different storytelling techniques used in such limited word count. Each issue of this graphic novel, consisting of 10 issues, had a different storytelling style. The only reason that I didn't give this graphic work a 10 out of 10 is because I had a struggle understanding some of the methods that we use, even though I agree with what he's thinking on a very fundamental level. Other than that, I think it is an excellent work of fiction. I would advise this work even if you are not a big fan of graphic works, because of its very powerful storytelling style. So overall, I gave V for Vendetta by Alan Moore and David Lloyd a 9 out of 10. So those were my favorite books that I read in 2024. Please comment down below. Have you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, and what did you think of them? If you're a new viewer, first of all, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. As for Turkish word of the day, I'm going to choose under. Under means altında in Turkish, and altında is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day.